Imagine a company so powerful, so wealthy, that Apple, Microsoft, Amazon, and even Saudi Aramco combined still wouldn't match its value. A corporation that ruled oceans, commanded private armies, and reshaped global trade centuries before Wall Street even existed. This isn't the story of the Rothschilds or the Rockefellers. This is the story of a quiet little Dutch company that invented capitalism as we know it. The world's first multinational, the first stock exchange, the first IPO. Welcome to the story of the Dutch East India Company and the dynasty that silently stood behind it, the House of Orange. Let's rewind to the late 1500s. Spain had just taken over Portugal, merging two of the world's greatest empires. Together, they controlled the Americas, Africa, and Asia, and now dominated the seas. To the Dutch, still technically under Spanish rule, this was an existential threat. They couldn't outgun Spain or Portugal, so they did something smarter. They built a financial weapon. In 1602, 7 private trading companies merged to form a new kind of entity, the Verenigde Oostindische Compagnie, or as we know it today, the VOC. For the first time in human history, ordinary citizens could invest in a company that could wage wars, conquer lands, and trade across continents. Wealth was no longer tied to royal blood or land. It was created, shared, and multiplied through markets. The VOC didn't just trade spices, it traded power. With its own navy, private armies, and fortified outposts, it became an empire within an empire. At its peak, the VOC's valuation adjusted, but behind the scenes, one family quietly tied its fate to the company's success, the House of Orange. They weren't kings, not yet. They were nobles caught between rival powers, the merchant elites of Amsterdam on one side, and the Spanish crown on the other. So they made a choice, adapt or vanish. They invested in the VOC, not just with money, but with strategy, connecting politics, capital, and commerce. Their involvement gave the company legitimacy and protection, and in return, the VOC made them richer than monarchs. For nearly 2 centuries, the VOC ruled the seas. More than 1 million Dutch citizens sailed to Asia under its flag. They weren't explorers chasing dreams. They were employees of the world's first megacorporation. From Batavia, modern-day Jakarta, the company controlled trade routes, managed ports, and influenced kings. And through its shares, it created the world's first financial market, the Amsterdam Stock Exchange. Speculation, options trading, futures. The VOC didn't just create wealth, it invented modern finance. When it issued shares to the public, it sparked the first wave of FOMO in history. Investors from all walks of life poured in, and as shares rose tenfold, they also discovered a new principle, limited liability. For the first time, investors could lose only what they invested, protecting their homes and families. That concept still defines capitalism today. Over time, the VOC's power faded, but its legacy and the influence of the House of Orange only grew. In the late 1600s, a prince from the House of Orange, William III, crossed the sea to England and led what became known as the Glorious Revolution. Under his reign, England founded the Bank of England, institutionalized public credit, and built the foundations of modern financial capitalism. The DNA of Dutch finance, the VOC stock markets, limited liability and global trade, spread to Britain, America, and then the world. 4 centuries later, we're still living in the system that began with a handful of Dutch merchants and a vision for the future. The Dutch East India Company is long gone, but its shadow stretches across every market, every corporation, every empire built since. Because in the end, the VOC didn't just change trade, it changed what it means to own the world.